Okay, 10 o'clock. Welcome to BOCC meeting for July 1st. Would you join in the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And also, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for the firefighters that lost their life up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. There's 2 that were killed and 1 still in surgery in the hospital. So we have just a moment of that. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. And on to our agenda approval.
Commissioners, no changes to the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Sporlater.
Yes. And the consent agenda.
On the consent agenda today, we have the June 24th meeting minutes, Caleb Diggs' resignation from Huerfano County Sheriff's Office, and then a green sheet for Joanna Rebar to be the interim adult protective services supervisor during the duration of Hallie Coulter's maternity leave.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
First and second, any other questions or discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Sporlater.
Yes. On to appointments.
First today, we have Highway of Legends project update from Deborah Malone.
I did. Approach you. State your name and your address for the record.
Deborah Malone, 7637 County Road, 521, Walsenburg, Colorado. I'm not here to ask for money. I'm going to say that right up front.
It's a great way to start.
It's been a few years, but I'd like to find out how many of you are somewhat familiar with the Pell study, the Planned Environmental Linkage Program study that was done 4 years back. Yeah. Well, what? Really? Okay. Well, what the Pell study was to determine if the Scenic Highway of Legends could be the southern loop for Governor Hickenlooper's dream of having a front range trail from Wyoming to New Mexico. That would bring, of course, a lot of attention to our area. And it was a very comprehensive plan, lasted about a year and a half before the report came out. It's still really considered quite extravagant for our area. And the object of that study was to enhance our two counties' tourism economy through a long-term plan that invested in the Scenic Highway of Legends. The specific needs it addressed was to improve safety for vehicles and bicycles and pedestrians along the corridor, to provide bicycle and multi-use trail system for the corridor, and the thing that got our attention at the byway was to improve connections and access to the communities of the recreational areas along the corridor for all types of volunteers and users, to get people to come and enjoy all the features, stay another day, bring their family along, come again. Included in that final part of the Pell study, there was a wide variety of less challenging improvements that could be done along the byway in phases. The Scenic Highway of Legends saw these suggested improvements as a mandate to find the funding and begin delivering what was called the low-hanging fruit. How could we lose? We were a newly appointed National Scenic Byway. We had a freshly revised Colorado corridor management plan, And we had the Pell study to support our plan. We also had 2 counties agreeing to provide the 20% match that would be required for TAP funding, and which we sincerely appreciate. We are going to build an 82-mile information system for travelers who drive America's scenic highway of legends. But first, we need a source of funding. So resources are a little limited when you're a state highway, but to luck of the draw, the Federal Highway Administration, for the first time in 12 years, said they were going to offer grants to the scenic byways. This was a very competitive process because there's like 1,100 plus byways in the country, and we had no idea how many would be selected, but we threw our hat in the ring, and we were judged by our state commissioners of the byway, and we came in number 2. And 2 years later, when the winners were finally announced by the Federal Highway Administration, they only chose number 1 from each state. So it was unfortunate because the time that we had missed, but we went on, we wrote another grant, wasn't a good fit. And then third time's a charm, right? So on June 15th, 1923, we received a letter from CDOT saying that they approved our application for the Transportation Alternative Programs Fund, TAP Fund, for multimodal wayside exhibits and pull-offs on Highway 12 and US 160. The next step, however, happened almost 1 year later when we were called to submit our RFP to CDOT for approval to advertise for a designer and start the process. Upon CDOT's approval of the RFP, we advertised it for the required 3 weeks on BidNet, and we received 1 response. But the good news is we think it was the right response. THK, the design firm that responded, had been working in the area with the city of Trinidad and on the newest state park, Fisher's Peak. Commissioner Chamberlain, Phil Dorkenkamp, Brian Blossy, director of the South Central Congress of Governments, along with myself, graded the proposal and approved the design firm's bid. THK's proposal and approved bid was sent to CDOT, the approval a few days later, and we actually had a signed contract between THK and the South Central Congress of Governments, who is the financial administrator for the funding. Last week, the design firm and our second project manager from CDOT took 2 days to scope out the locations that you see on the handout, I hope still. And we met with the business owners. And all indications show that it's a very strong support and interest for the proposed wayfinding system. We will be starting our community meetings next week. And finally, due to a scalable nature of the TAP funding and some possible cuts that we've been noticing over at CDOT, we are taking some precautions to ensure that our construction phase of the project will not be compromised. Luck would happen last Wednesday at the Spanish Peaks Outdoor Coalition meeting in Cuchara. The members voted to include the Scenic Highway of Legends in their GOCO Regional Partnership Incentive Grant. SPOC will be asking for $250,000 to be shared among the 3 parties. One of them is the Walsenburg Riverwalk. Another one is Trinidad, to be able to attract a statewide outdoor recreation trade show to come to Trinidad. And the Scenic Highway of Legends is third to be used for construction if necessary. Please know, as long as these things take, I will not let this sit on a shelf someplace. So, questions? Suggestions?
Well, kudos for sticking with it and going down. It's quite an impressive amount of information that and stuff or pullouts and everything. That's amazing. Sounds
It's been a
really
long
nice.
time putting it together.
Yeah.
Good deal. I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. thank you.
Amen. Definitely. Thank you very much, Deb. Okay. Next.
Next appointment is Gardner Water and Sewer Tap for Jess Viapondo and Barbara Galvez.
Hi, my name is Barbara Galvez. I live at 25033 Highway 69, Gardner, Colorado. And it was concerning the water tap. When I purchased the home, Clayton Homes did all the paperwork. I just came and applied for the permit for YA. Well, I found out that they gave me my brother's water tap and sewer. I don't know who assumed it was me, but I applied for myself, not for his. So that's what I was concerned about. Then I told him I would go in and pay it, right? The $8,200. Well, they quoted me $9,500. So that was my concern there. That's what they quoted Clayton Homes. And then on here, I pulled this off the internet, and it says tap fees outside of the city of Walsenburg. Water is $4,000 and sewer is $3,000. So I don't know how they came up with $9,500.
You want to?
Yeah, it's the GPID, it's a resolution, gosh, I just want to say this. This was that resolution. 17. Yes. Yeah, we have this resolution for GPID and it gives the prices in that resolution of what Gardner sewer and water tap fees are. And she has a fee for each tap. I have a resolution in my office, I think. It's on the resolution, it gives the prices.
Okay.
The outside of Walsenburg water and sewer tap fees, that's for like, as you're heading down 160, let's see, Black Diamond,
Mhm.
those places. Not right.
And so what would be your recommendation?
Maybe the 9,500 for the water and sewer tap fees.
And because the differences on the GPID.
Yes.
I think a little bit of the confusion is they used to have a 5/8 tap, the per code, that's no longer available. And so now they have to have the 3/4 tap, which is more expensive. So we used to have it available and it was 9,500. I have no clue where 8,200 came from. But what's happened is now that we have to do the 3/4 taps, it's 9,500. So that is the smallest we can do on any residence, and that's per code, and that's the reason the 5/8 has disappeared. It still is in some of the documents available, but per code it can't be done.
And that resolution is being rewritten right now. We're just waiting to get it back to get it to you guys.
Okay.
So it'll eliminate the 5/6.
Okay.
I also had a question. Why would they assume that that was mine? Why would they assume it was, it's under Jess Viapondo, and I have nothing to do with that. Why would they assume that and tell Clayton Homes that there was no charge?
You were told that she was the one that was asking for the.
No, I did not. I just came in and applied for a permit on July 8th.
And then went to Carl and Carl said yes, so just came down from there.
Well, obviously there's a history that's confusing on this.
Yes,
The-
because the property, he's on the other side of the Highway 69. I'm on the north side and he's on the south side of Highway 69. Just right across the street.
Well, one thing we can't, go away from is the code. Code is part of the way it's run. Do you have any recommendations from the staff?
I think there's.
Um, so basically,
Pause.
When 5/8 was allowed, was the rate for that 8,200? 85, okay.
Yeah, but it's been over, how many years is it supposed to be, the headache's been long? Yeah, she just wanted to say that was last year, 2 years ago.
so basically, Sherry and I have almost been here 4 years now. So we didn't know the backlog of the history. So the only way we would know that is if we were asked for it. And once we got asked for it, we did research, found out the family was owed a tap. So we honored that as a county. We went through all that. Got it done. After that was done, we were again, because the true name on the tap was ready for a tap and they wanted one as well. So what we suggested was that we would, if Mr. Bill Condon, sorry.
Bill Condo,
I am very bad with pronunciations on names. But we suggested that he would send us a letter saying that he never authorized that. And that tap, and then that we would honor it for him, but that we would have to come to Ms. Galvez to get the funds, or, pay for the tap that she received. And then we also talked about maybe fraudulent charges because of that. So it came to us and we just rolled with what we had. So that's basically where we stand on it. So we just did what we thought we were doing, right? We went through Carl and everything with it. Researched for us because we didn't want anything about it.
That whole lot of
Yeah, we had no clue that there was even an existing agreement until they were told that she needed a $3.
yeah, but why would you put it on me? I applied for my own. I didn't apply for it.
But we had no idea that, so how do we know that there was even one that existed?
Yeah, but why would you assume, yeah, he's family, but.
Well, they're just going by code for today and the last many years.
Okay,
So that's
but
why it's,
they
that's
have a
the-
whole different thing. I came and applied July 8th for my own, because I put a home on my lot. Clayton Homes did all everything. And I'm willing to pay for it. The 8,200, but now 9,500. That's a 1,200 difference.
So, what was the resolution number on that?
Bye.
Regulations to have EID rules and regulations. Whether it's happening or.
That. Oh.
12:40.
This is a rules. I don't think this is.
Yeah, that's bulk water.
Resolution 18-50. It's resolution that's also getting updated. GMS and everything.
Okay.
And that's one that used to have, that had its water line tap, and now we got rid of that a few years ago. To go to 3/4. So that's.
Was the tap put in before or after the resolution? Mhm.
Oh, definitely.
It was right here.
It was put in last year.
March,
So then I would just say go with
March, April.
what the resolution says. So then the 90, was it 9,500? So I would say that the 9,500 would have to stay just because it went after, was put in after the resolution was passed.
Okay, but I just don't get why they would quote Clayton Homes that price. Because that was included in my loan.
When was that done? When was that paperwork done?
Um, well, according to what I have from Clayton Homes, it says water tap is 6,000. Then for the connection to the meter, just this year in March, they just did it. They just finished the home in the 15th or the 20th of April.
So Clayton Homes was quoting you the 6,000?
The 8,200, and I told him, where did he get that quote? And he said, from the courthouse. I don't have no idea who did it. I just have some emails that went back and forth from Clayton Homes to these people.
I wonder if Clayton Homes have these, they'll do a food sheet.
Yeah, it sounds
And
like
they
it.
keep that food sheet, and sometimes they don't call for updates.
Well, they did call for an update.
Do you know meetings go to?
Let's see who it is.
Because usually they'll have documentation.
There was one from Cheryl Chamberlain to Jay Neeson from Clayton Homes.
I didn't give them a quote.
That's what they said.
Have we talked to Clayton Homes about this?
They called and asked if we were aware of it. I said, yes, I can get a hold of them. Because if they charge her for it in that time, and then, you know, then we gave it to her for free, they should have took that money.
Well, what they did with that, at the end, when everything was done, they put it back on the loan. So I got the money back. That's why I say I'm willing to pay for the 8,200.
Is that how much the 5 cents was?
It's
95.
But on this application that Scott has filled out, it has 3/4 inch foot size water line tap, 3/4 inch. And it's like, please see if that's resolution for fee schedule. 18-50.
Okay.
Is it a 2-inch tap or 4-inch tap for the standby fire protection?
That's only for commercial.
Okay, all right. I'm looking through that resolution now just to double check what the numbers come out to from that resolution. So give me a moment.
So 6,500 for a 3/4 inch tap.
And 3
3,000
for sewer.
inch sewer tap roof residential.
Yep, and that's the 9,500.
Because I would refer them to resolution for the prices. I would not put the whole.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're Clayton obviously didn't.
It sounds like a breakdown in communication with Clayton Homes, maybe something on their end.
It does. If Clayton quoted them at 8,200 instead of the 8,500, if Clayton had quoted them at a 5/8 rate, even though I know code is now 3/4, the 5/8 rate is 5,500, and then the 3,000 fee for sewer for residential would put it at 8,500. I don't know if maybe they were giving her a $300 discount on it and they were going to front the 300 to make it to 8,500 at that point. But either way, if code at this point is now the 3/4, as we've said, it would go to a different rate structure for that.
Right. Well,
And the resolution that we're referencing was effective July 1st, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did we hadn't had an application for how many years for GPIPs for about 3 years. Right?
Yeah.
Because I was calling, I was like, I've never even done, but we had to go through and make an application for water and sewer, because we didn't even have an application. Because it'd been so long since we had somebody apply for a water and sewer job.
okay.
May I see the breakdown sheet from Clayton? No, the breakdown. sheet.
Oh. Yeah. There's a certain folder. But this one I got off the city of Walsburg.
Actually, what Clayton was gonna charge you for water and sewer was gonna be 10,400.
They told me 8,200, so I don't know.
I just added it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, remember what they said and what is on your paperwork. It was even more than what you're talking about. So the 9,500,
Is what I'd have to pay.
Mhm.
it's actually less than what they were charging or put on their paperwork.
And what about the water and sewer tap for Jesville Pond? Are they gonna get that back?
Basically, it was, there's one available free water tap.
Mhm.
And so he came and claimed we had already issued it.
Okay.
So basically, if she pays for the tap she received, then you go with the free one to yes.
I just don't get it. Why you would assume give it to somebody else if it was for somebody else? A free tap? I don't get that. That's their mistake.
So what was this deal with the free tap?
The thing is we wouldn't give anybody's tap away if we weren't.
Right.
We researched the family and it was available.
So it was to the family, not to
Yeah,
anybody
to the
specifically.
family. If we weren't asked, we would have never known about it.
Asked by who?
The applicant.
I didn't ask for it. I came in and applied July 8th for a water tap. I didn't ask for a free water tap. That's what I don't get. Anybody gonna come in and make an application, then you assume it's for somebody else? I applied for me, not for just your condo. So it's on their mistake on their part for, doing it.
We just would never research it if we weren't asked for it.
Right.
That's, an application is an application. We would have processed it like normal. And we wouldn't have researched any history on the family
Mhm.
if it wasn't asked of us.
Right.
That's where we're coming from.
Yeah. Well, I might have seen the paperwork actually looks like it was more than the 9,500. Yeah, recommendation. That's,
I'd say just Stick with what the resolution says on the tap fee.
Jim,
Yes.
I'd also recommend, you got that paperwork there from Clayton. I would recommend her going back and questioning Clayton, if they
Yeah.
actually charged her that amount and only returned 8,200. Then
Yeah.
that's an issue between her and Clayton, you know, she might have money owed to her.
yeah, it's a good
Right.
point.
Well, I'll talk to him.
Yes, definitely, I would recommend.
But my biggest concern is if anybody comes in and applies for a tap, water tap, it's on them. Why would you assume it's another family member? I don't get that. I just don't.
Okay. Well, duly noted. Well, I think, do you need a motion on
Talk a
that?
little louder, please.
Oh, sorry. Just said duly noted. We just can go by the documentation, and the documentation did show that Clayton had charged more than that 9,500 tap. And so that's something that she needs to go back with them on what the difference is. If they only refunded back 8,200, then it sounds like there's a discrepancy
I'll
there.
talk to him about that.
And then our code shows that it is the 9,500.
Erica, do you need that in form of a motion?
Well, they can have to go. You can make a motion on that.
Does it do the variance for half or something?
Do what now?
Do the variance for half. Have it difference.
Motion on it now. Before the resolution, you can.
The difference between the two. Do you think about it? Variance, the difference between the two.
Yeah.
So how do you do about that? A motion. Variance between the two halves. So that would be from instead of 95. No, it's either. Great.
Oh, split the difference.
Yeah.
So you want a variance on that amount?
No, I'm.
I'm not following you on this. So,
Should be their application, so right, filling her application.
So-
In the amount of her resolution.
okay, let's do a variance on 8,500 between 8,500 and 9,500.
That's too late. Jeez. So.
8,700. Okay, should be 9,000 actually. I mean, I'll probably tell you what the reasoning is.
Just. Or just go.
I'll make a motion to grant a variance to split the difference from 9,500 and 8,500 to $9,000.
Fine.
Okay. Is that what you're looking for?
You.
Second.
Just because of the confusion with this whole thing, but for future reference, we'll stick with what the resolution states.
Stick with code.
And also maybe throw into there to encourage home buyers to make sure that their lenders or companies such as Clayton Homes in this case are using current information and ask them to make
Yeah.
sure that they get current information.
Make sure they're quoted the exact, make sure it matches.
Okay, well, that also goes for the courthouse. I mean, they have to make sure that it was for me and not for another family member. I just really can't get through that. That you would go apply for a permit and they put it on somebody else.
Well, it's kind of a separate issue, but yeah.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
What was the, I don't think I have it in front of me. You have an application?
Application number. It might have been there, but I just got number 75 from the.
Yeah, I don't have an application number.
I got it first one, that's all.
Can we give staff direction to include the application number?
Additional parcel, some kind of reference to exactly which one this is.
Parcel number 12438.
So to amend my motion to include parcel number, say that again,
12438.
12438.
Second. Amend my second to second. Yes.
Okay. First and second, so that's spaghetti.
Yep. All right.
Any other discussion? Call for a vote.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Spoliter.
Okay. On to permits, licenses. Public hearings.
Our first item here is the water sewer tap application for Jess and Gina Huerfano. Is there anything you need to add to that? Or just say, which we just did.
No, I mean, prior to any kind of water tap or approval or anything comes before it comes to you, we do a site inspection. And after going by, the only thing that is there is a well house and stuff. I think it's actually the county well. I think that was the reason for the free tap. So there's no violations on the property whatsoever.
So they just have to approve the top.
And if we want to make it in the motion, the parcel number on this is 26709.
And that one would be the free water and sewer tap.
Okay.
Now that's all that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely make note of that.
Mhm.
Thank you, Hannah.
Okay. Make a motion. Okay, make a motion to accept the water and sewer tap application for Jess and Gina Villalpando for parcel number 26709.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Spoliter.
Yes. Okay.
Commissioners, next on the agenda, we have a special event permit for Panadero Ski Corporation. Just Huerfano. Did you want to speak?
Oh, I'm
Jess?
sorry.
Excuse me, what? Yeah, other than, who signed the paperwork for that permit? Wasn't me.
Barbara Garcia. Yeah, that's right.
You signed it? Barbara did.
I signed for my permit. Yeah.
Other than that,
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to find out was who signed that.
yeah, that's something we don't, that's not in our purview. That's something you two will have to figure out on your own.
Okay. All righty.
You're getting your tap back though.
I am?
Yes.
Okay,
Been approved for you.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, that's all I had to ask about.
Thank you.
All right, yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank
Good to see
you.
you.
Okay.
Okay, special event permit for Panadero Ski Corp. Mike, do you want to come up for that or no?
Do you have any, do you have any questions for myself or for Mike for the special events liquor license permit?
Just everything's in line and
We were cutting it close, but we met all the requirements.
well, we know Mike. He likes to get things fixed. Okay, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the special events permit for Panador Ski Court. We have a number to associate with that? I don't have one on my document.
There's no application.
No number. Okay.
Permit number
Paperwork.
1.
Yeah.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardo,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Sporleader.
Yes.
Commissioners, next we have a special event permit for Levita Trails. Marilyn Russell, do you want to come up?
And Marilyn is present for that. Any questions?
Everything in.
They met all the requirements, everything was good. Good standing.
That's a good place to be.
Could I add something to, I know this is off topic for this topic, but I'd like to add something that in Deborah's report that you folks, because you weren't part of it back then, you might want to know the county's role in how we got to having a Pell study and a scenic highway of legends. In 2016, Governor Hickenlooper put out a call for 16 new segments for the Colorado Front Range Trail, which was to connect Wyoming to New Mexico, going through Colorado. I contacted County Administrator Galusha at the time, who was administrator back then, and said, hey, here's this announcement, we should apply. He agreed. He defined the segments that he wanted to see submitted. I drafted them for him, and he submitted them on behalf of the county. When the governor announced the 16 new segments, it included 2 for Huerfano County, the 2 that he had asked us to submit. So we wouldn't be where we are today. Deborah wouldn't be where she is today without the county playing that important role. So the Scenic Highway of Legends, the Pell study, the whole bit. So
Excellent.
You probably weren't involved back then, so I think it's important that you know that. And Levita Trails, we were founded in 2015, and that was one of the first things we ever did. So supporting that application.
I appreciate that.
Anyway,
We're gonna add just public comments. So-
oh, sorry. I'm out of practice for this. My name is Marilyn Russell, and I'm president of Levita Trails. Still,
And doing a great job.
thank you. So any questions?
No, already answered those, so a motion.
I make a motion to accept the approve the permit application for the special event permit for Levita Trails.
Second the motion.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardo,
Yes.
Chairman Sporleader.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
And you're all invited, and I have invitations for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, on to action items.
Commissioners, first for the action items, we have an opioid settlement agreement for Sandros Incorporated in the total amount of $99,500. It's a settlement participation agreement, participation form.
I'll make a motion to approve the Sandros Incorporated Subdivision Settlement Participation Agreement.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? I will bring up, there's a lot of talk about tribal lands in there. And I wasn't sure. Is that the right one that I was looking at?
Essentially, to do an agreement in principle with litigating subdivisions and litigating tribes to establish the fund. So
So it's kind of boilerplate.
it's boilerplate, but we can look into if there's anything specific we need to do with this one.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, I thought we, yeah. Call for the vote. Sorry.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Sporley.
Yes. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Mine went somewhere else.
It happens. Commissioners, next on the agenda, we have a prepaid vendor run in the amount of $22,895. This is for Sheriff's Office jail-based behavioral health expense, and it is 100% reimbursable.
Even better.
Make a motion to approve the prepaid vendor run in the total amount of $22,895 for the behavioral health expense that is 100% reimbursable.
Second?
First and second, call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Sporley.
Yes.
Commissioners, next we have a Gardner Main Street Award Letter. This is from the DOLA Housing Pre-Development Grant and the total amount of $25,000 and will help the costs with our Gardner housing projects.
I make a motion to accept the award of DOLA Housing Pre-Development Grant in the amount of $25,000.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Sporley.
Yes.
Commissioners, next we're bringing back the proposal from QTATA from last week. Last week, the BOCC had instructed staff to ask follow-up questions of JRA Real Estate on this quote concerning whether or not QTATA has worked in Colorado, examples of other work, and if there are Colorado-based firms that do this work. Louis Lacondi of JRA replied that while QTATA has not done anything in Colorado historically, their scope of work is not locationally dependent. It is essentially detailed takeoffs with construction cost estimates and logistical planning. Lewis did add that land development projects like this are effectively the same everywhere with some geographic considerations when it comes to means and methods, and that he vouches for QTATA as he has hired them before to do this exact work, and they are accurate, fast, and reasonably priced. He also expressed that he lacks confidence to find another firm in the same scope and the same timeline.
All right.
Make a motion to approve the budgeting and cost analysis proposal from QTATA in a total amount not to exceed $11,990.
Second the motion.
First and second, any other discussion? And thank you for looking out on that.
No problem. Commissioners, I will also add for the record on this that this is an example of an expense that we can cover with what you just approved or accepted an award previously in 7C. So
Excellent.
this will wind up being funded through grant funds.
Excellent. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Sporley.
Yes. All right, on to correspondence.
Commissioners, only one item in correspondence today. It is a donations letter from, I believe, New Hope Ministries. They are having their 4th annual community outreach in August. It's essentially a back to school fair. We looked into it to double check what we had done in the past on this item. We did not donate in 2024, but we did give them $500 in 2023.
Yeah, motion to. Somebody say something.
No, Sherry joined online and it made a noise when she joined.
Oh, okay.
Thought Carl here, do we have that in the budget? Do we have anything but something like that?
We do have some funds that are community development type funds that can be used for this type of situation. I know that we received a similar letter from First National Bank last week, and we were discussing what to do with that for their back to school. I would note that if we do decide to donate towards them, they are matching whatever our donation is up to 1,000. We can do something for both if we would like.
That was it. Yeah. What was the amount?
500.
Out, the letter we got this week.
So last week, was it the bank?
Yeah, first.
Oh,
The
yes.
bank
yeah.
requested a donation for their school projects. How about we, is it to match it up to $1,000? How would it be 500 each?
Thank you, Mike. See ya.
Thanks, Mike. 250. Is it, it's a match. So I said that.
Oh, all right. You can math. That sounds good.
So 250 for community outreach.
Okay. And then
750.
250 for the bank and 750 for the church, or the other way around?
Other way.
Okay.
are you making a motion?
Yes. Okay, so, make a motion to
Community outreach.
community outreach, $250. And the donation to the bank, $750 for the matching.
We'll bank on next week. Yeah, so this will just be for 250.
Okay, this be $250 for the community outreach for the church.
Then we'll put the bank on next week.
And with the bank on next week.
Second the motion,
First and second, any other discussion?
and we can swing this.
Yes, Kevin's confirmed we can swing it.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Woodell,
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Spoiler.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. On to public comment. Do we have any public comments in the room?
Yes.
Yes.
And we do have one online for the Mid Sandoval as well.
Okay.
So whatever order you want to do.
Come to the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Ron Erickson, 8318 US Highway 160 in Levita. And I'm here to ask about the development of the shooting range.
Oh, we have been shopping for land. We found a suitable site that, we're not at liberty to discuss at the moment. We found a site that we've looked at. We went out and looked at it, and so now we're working with, the landowners on whether or not they'd be willing to sell us that piece of property or not. But we're still working on it, still in the works.
Okay, somebody said there's enough acreage out there at the Taylor Ranch on the north side that we didn't sell. Is that correct?
Taylor Ranch?
Is that what it's called out there on Highway
Thorn,
69?
yeah.
Oh, the Thorn
That's
Ranch.
not, yeah, that
No.
wouldn't work with to get to 1,000-yard range. There's more issues with that than previously thought of. So that's not an option.
Okay, somebody said something, so I asked.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, we're looking for a site that would have a good backstop with nothing over the top of it in case
Sure.
I can't say that word. Somebody overshoots the backstop,
Got
you know, and, would at least go out to 1,000 yards. And so
Okay.
finding a suitable location for something like that is,
In the meantime, for those of us that are concealed carry instructors with the new laws that went into effect today,
Mhm.
what is your feelings about using the police range until we get an actual shooting range?
so the
that
police
would-
range is owned by the city of Walsenburg, so you'll have to approach them on that.
I was told that it was a 3-entity project, that it was a county, the city, and the prison. And
No, I don't think so.
I've spoken with the city. The mayor said he doesn't have a problem. He's gonna bring it up at their meeting today.
Okay.
And I figured I was here, I'd ask you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Try to get everybody's approvals.
it's not really up to us because we're not part of it, but if we were, I'd have no problem with it, but no, it's not in our ballpark.
Okay. And one last thing, did you ever send a letter to President and Pam Bondi about the
So what we're
state
doing
outreach?
is we're trying to work with other counties around us to see if we can get a regional letter like that sent off. And so it's in the hands of our lawyer right now to try to see if we can pull that off. If not, then it'll just be an individual letter.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, just as a side note, for some good news, Ron, we had actually talked to some of the state land board also, and that was gonna be 3 years out. So what stuff that we're looking at now is closer, by far closer, in timeline. So be rest assured that it's gonna be sooner than later.
For which?
For the gun range.
Range, yeah.
gun range.
And it's in top of our priority list right now. So.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you. And online,
We have D. May Sandoval and then Ryan Geese.
D.
Give her a second to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good morning,
Say your name.
commissioners, and Ime Sandoval, 1010 West 27th Street, Pueblo, Colorado. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I came on purposely for just what will be my last question, but after listening to a couple of things. So did the church ask for $250, or was that just what you're willing to give?
The church did not specify amount in the request.
Okay, so I don't know. To me, it's rather confusing how you just come up with these random numbers depending on who's asking, why it wouldn't be straight across the board that you give 500 to each, but that's just my opinion. Secondly, the Galvez v. El Pondo thing. So I believe it was you, Chair Spore Leader, that said you don't have the purview to know who signed the permit application. Did I understand that correctly?
That, I don't know who signed that paperwork. I do not.
But doesn't someone there within the county courthouse know that to give that information to the Villalpondos and the Galvezes? Shouldn't they know who signed on their behalf?
The paperwork, there's a dispute between the families, and it's more of an issue of he said, she said, and so it's not as easy as just who is signing or who is not. There's a history here that it's difficult to overcome.
Okay. All right. And last but not least, I've listened to your meetings sometimes, the majority of the time after they have been conducted. And I'm wondering what the commission decided on the ask of Chelsea Meese in reference to the homeless grant that she received that was by county, and Walsenburg still had some stake in that grant. What was decided?
We haven't done a formal vote on that. That's still in discussion.
Okay, so do you have an idea of when you will have a formal vote?
I don't at this time.
So, yeah. Is there a reason why there's a pause to this?
Nope, other than time, we haven't discussed it specifically.
Okay, thank you.
And what was the other comment?
Ryan Geese.
Oh yeah, Randy.
Ryan.
Or Ryan, sorry. Are these all?
Thank you, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
we are.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to take this time to thank the county commissioners and the administration. We have the 4th of July fireworks show at the state park this weekend, Friday night. We're expecting to shoot 9:15 to 9:30, and again, free admission to the park. Thank you to the state for that. We have lots of Parks and Rec county employees, lots of other resources that are being volunteered, and just wanted to say thank you, and everybody's welcome. Come on down. We're going to really have a good time.
Excellent. Thank you for bringing that up.
And quick question, what time does that start?
Generally, I've been trying to pay attention to the sunset. We're going to be about 9:15 to 9:30. We're expecting a 30-minute shoot, and barring, we sometimes have delays because of the fires that are counted on the ground, and weather, et cetera. But it looks like we're going to have a clear night, and barring any other excitement, should have a really good time.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you. Thanks for all you do. Okay, anybody else? That it? No
I
more?
don't have anyone else for public comment online at this moment.
Okay, on to staff reports.
Okay, I do have a report in here from Carl Young, County Administrator, who is hopefully enjoying PTO today, as he should be. The next edition of the Huerfano County newsletter will go out tomorrow. Please sign up at huerfano.us/newsletter. When you sign up, you'll receive a confirmation email. If you don't see it, please double check your junk folder. We have 2 open positions that closed this week: land use permit technician, July 4th, road and bridge auto mechanic, July 4th. Open until filled, deputy officer and detention officer as usual. Our 2 open solicitations closed earlier last week: the county surveyor with 1 response and the community wildfire protection plan with 12 responses. Both of those should be proceeding to their next stages by the end of this week. And then there's the list of the various meetings that Carl was a part of last week as well. That is the end of the administrator's report.
Okay. And nothing from the county attorney?
At this time, no.
Okay, no need for executive session?
At this time, no.
What? Well, I guess about time to call for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
First and second? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Sporler.
Yes. We are adjourned. 11:01.